Well, that was fun.
No kidding. What are the odds that I would predict all that so exactly?
That depends. Have you seen this movie before?
No.
Then, as a guess, I'd say approximately 3,720 to 1.
To quote a smuggler, never tell me the odds.
Yeah, but you did ask. All right, now that I can think straight. Deedlit, please tell me the portal is ready. Almost? Okay.
You know, all things considered, this has been kind of fun.
I'm not disagreeing with you. I just hope neither of us has been fired due to a lack of attendance.
You have a point there.
Portal's ready? Good. Just to make sure, though. Are there any strange readings? Good. You ready, Jacob?
Yeah, let's get the heck out of here. So, we're back?
Looks like it. Wonder what time it is. Huh. Well, that's weird.
What is that?
Deedlit, does that portal transport us through time as well as space? Interesting. So guess what, Jacob? We're back at the exact moment we left.
That is awesome. However, I did straight to my apartment and crashed because I'm exhausted. What's up?
She asked, despite all the issues, what did you think of her proposal? I'm thinking we need to talk about that later, say in 2 or 3 weeks.
Sounds good. Night, guys. And gal.
Night, Jacob. It's okay, Deedlit. We got back safe and sound, and without losing any time. Everything's good, but we just need to think about it. We'll probably wait till after we've watched Future, the normal way, to make a decision. I mean, you did just kind of spring this on us after we had just barely met you. Anyway, I'm heading to bed. Night, Deedlit. Hello and welcome to another episode of The Cellcast. Joining me today is a man who, well, I don't have a good pun this week. I don't know. I really don't. Why did I think of one before this started?
That would have probably helped.
That would have helped a lot, actually. It's not like I didn't have 4 extra days. I don't know. He's a man who keeps going back and forth between worlds. Welcome, Jacob.
All right. Why, thank you. And let me introduce our co-host, a man who just stepped into the wrong ocean. Welcome, Drew.
I'm sorry, I was reading chats. How's it going? I'm going mad.
Apparently. Matt is a tech hatter.
Maybe. Anyway. Get this thing to do what it's supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
So how are you doing, Jacob?
Man, I'm doing pretty good. It's been a long week, let's say that. And
you were flat wore out Tuesday, apparently.
Yes, I was completely, because what happened was because I work where I work, and so I'm working like an 8-9 hour shift on my feet, doing something I'm not used to for like 2 weeks straight because COVID and people who just don't want to come in, and so I'm sitting behind a check stand all day. So I get home. I'm fixing notes, I'm eating dinner, and I just go thump. Like, all the energy drops out. Because I'm finally relaxed. So, I text Drew, and it's like, hey, can we postpone until Friday? And I was like, oh, yeah, sure, no problem. So, Wednesday, I just had kind of a, like we all do, we have issues that we deal with, like depression or anxiety or whatever. Well, I had one of those days. I had one of those.
Knock you out of that funk.
Yeah, huh?
We had to knock you out of that funk.
Yeah, that is true. That is true. That is so true. So I'd be like, yes, there again for those who did post, who did respond to that. Thank you so much. That was very encouraging. It was all your prayers, all your thoughts, all your encouragement, and the fact to be like, I posted it. Drew was the first one to post. And I love what he said. It was the fact that when be like, when you see something like that, you have friends who jump in there because they care about you, and that's really encouraging to hear. And I wanted to delete it because I felt really, really stupid. Because I felt really not stupid, but I felt really just embarrassed. I was like, "Oh, be like, you're bringing it to yourself. Don't do that, Jacob." And I had so many people reply back, "It's like, don't post it because that's encouraging." Because most people won't say that. They won't say that they're dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety or whatever. And so it was really encouraging to see people do that. And then just, as the week went on, things got a little better. And looks like work's getting a lot better.
That's good.
So yeah, it's been a roller coaster. How are you been, Drew?
Crazy.
Well, yeah, we knew that.
Oh, yes. No, I've been doing pretty good. I had a semi-relaxing week. Been getting a little bit extra overtime in, so that's been nice. But, just kind of a normal week.
Okay.
So, we got trivia question from last week.
True.
Technically about this week, but anyway. And I posted it late because I apparently forgot to post it Wednesday.
That happens.
Anyway, the trivia question was, what company originally localized Digimon? And then I posted, sorry for posting this so late. So, Jacob, who was the original localization company for Digimon?
Let's see. If memory serves correctly, it was the same company who did the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers.
Indeed.
That would be Saban.
It was Saban. Saban is the one who did this, but Josh only got it right like seconds before we came on.
Oh.
He's the only one who actually posted the right answer. Dallas of Geek Devotions, he thought it was 4Kids. I understand the thought completely.
Exactly, Dallas.
Except it's a better quality than 4Kids Dub ever thought about being.
I would agree.
And I'm saying that thinking, knowing Pokemon was done by 4Kids.
And just saying that, be like, thank you, Dallas. He reached out on Tuesday when I couldn't make for the recording that day. So thank you, Dallas, for your prayers and definitely the little laugh that I got out of it. Thank you.
And then Stephanie responded to Dallas saying she agreed that she thought it was 4Kids, but thinking later on it was Toei. Toei is the animation company, not the localizer.
Yes. There again, all good answers.
All good answers. I understand where you came from, but they have the correct answer. But Josh did get it right a couple seconds before the streams. Not a couple seconds before the stream. During the stream, a couple seconds before we went live, he said it was Saban. Because I asked him, because I didn't see his thing on here, and he usually answers. I wanted to make sure he had posted something. So, congratulations, Josh. You got it right once again. What have we been watching? What have you been watching?
What have I been watching? So, since we are going through Digimon Adventure Tri, there had to be an abridged version of this.
Oh, I haven't looked this up yet.
Oh, I happened to find it on YouTube, and that's normally where you find abridged stuff.
Yeah,
and
I'm worried. Is it bad? Some of them can be bad. Some can be good.
It gets a little political, and it gets a lot. It is the internet. It is the internet. But the corrections they did with the Digivolutions and the fights and all that, because with this dub they don't call out any of the like what they normally do, or when Omnimon or Wargreymon and Metal Garurumon merge and become Omnimon, they don't say it correctly. So in this abridged version, they actually say it right. I think it's like Mega Double Warp DNA Digivolve, and it was like, okay, bravo, you did it right. But overall, it's like, okay, this is your typical abridged thing, like they did with Dragon Ball Z and all these others. So it's good. They get very political. Let's say that. Okay. Let's use political term.
Are you suggesting that I skip it?
Oh, you can if you want. I would probably just watch it for like the first few minutes and it's like what you think of it. Other than that, I was watching. I had mentioned last week that I started watching One Punch Man. Exactly, really amazing. The first season's amazing. And there again, a very dearly loved friend of ours. I had told him what I was doing at the time. I was watching season 2 of One Punch Man, and he strongly recommended not watching it. So,
a lot of people will strongly suggest you not watch it.
Yes, but I watched it anyway because there again, I want to have my own opinion about it. So if you're watching a film or watching a television show and people are telling you don't watch it, and
it's just telling you more likely, I should go watch this.
Yeah, be like, yeah, what's people are complaining about? What's good? What's bad about it? And so I watched it, and I found myself really intrigued by this story because Saitama in the first season, it was he punched everything in every episode, and that was it. Well, with this one, you deal with a lot more of character issues. Like Saitama comes in to save the day only twice. And it'd be like it's there again, it's Saitama, everything's played low key, but I don't want to give away anything in the series. Just the ending is really cool, but there again, they leave everything hanging to season 3. We have, I think season 3 is, I think it's getting close to being finished.
I don't know.
I think
I hadn't kept up with it.
Yeah, but there again, for those who might say, well, I'm not going to watch season 2 because it's a different animation department or edition studio, whatever. I would just watch it for the sake of watching it because it's really good story-wise. And there's some little things, be like there's a Monster League now, and it's different, but at the same time you deal with a lot more than just Saitama wanting to punch something and having a little more challenge. And you're dealing with the different characters and what they're going through, and yeah, so it's really interesting. So I watched, other than that, I started watching Digimon Tamers on Hulu. And
that's season 3.
That's season 3.
Because I think it's still, on the Saban dub, it's still just called Digimon.
Yeah, it's called Digimon Tamers. And that's really good. There again, it's a lot darker story.
It went all Yu-Gi-Oh on us.
A little bit. You had some of the I had a lot.
Digivolve with the heart of the cards. You don't even.
I've never watched. I've watched Yu-Gi-Oh very little.
Obvious, since you didn't jump at that heart of the cards reference. But anyway,
no. But yeah, so I watched that, and then I've been reading or listening to 2 books as of recently. We are doing a Bible study over Cold Case Christianity by J. Warner Wallace. And that's a really, really good book. Really good. I would highly recommend it if like you're wanting to invest, be like, if you are a Christian and you wanted like really like dig into everything and understand your faith even greater through investigation and simply just be like, oh, I believe it. So why do you believe it? So it kind of delves into that. And if you don't believe in Christ, or you're an atheist or just a non-believer, maybe it's something you might want to pick up or listen to on Audible. It's really good. It's a really good book. I'd highly recommend it. And the next book I'm currently listening to is The Book of Fate by Brad Meltzer. It's one of these historical mystery dramas stories. It's about a failed assassination attempt of a fictional president. We're following one of his aides, and it starts diving into not the Illuminati, but the Freemasons. And like even in the preface of it, it's like, hey, be like, this is fiction. Be like, this is just, and be like, it's simply a story. We're not saying this is truth. So I really enjoy Brad Meltzer's historical fictional writing. I really, really enjoy it. So that's what I'm currently reading. And other than that, it's a lot of YouTube and a lot of like history stuff, which I just love things about. If you know anything, like if I was to say Teutoburg Forest, would anybody know what I'm talking about?
No clue.
Okay, Teutoburg Forest was we
don't have time to get into history.
That is true. That is so
Before
true.
you get off on this tangent.
I could go on the tangent.
I could tell you were heading that way. That's why I cut you off at the pass.
Good deal. So yeah, I'm a history nut. So yeah, we can talk about that another day or whatever. But yes, So that is all I've been watching and listening to. So what have you been up to? Or what have you been watching?
What have I been watching? I've been watching a couple things. Before you came over here, I watched the pilot episode to Firefly, because I apparently have never watched the show despite owning the DVD for the past 8 years.
Really?
Yeah. Because I know I bought it when I worked at Wally.
Yeah.
I've never actually watched the show. So I watched the first episode, the pilot episode, and I enjoyed it. It was good. Also been watching some more of Godzilla the series.
Yeah.
Because that's been fun. I think I failed to mention I've been watching the Book of Fett. The last 4 episodes. And it has gotten really good in the last episode.
Yeah.
In my opinion. We finally got done with all the flashbacks.
Ah.
It doesn't really spoil much, but... And the way it connects into Mandalorian, I thought was good.
Nice. Okay.
I will say that. Let's see, what else have I been watching? Of course, after I watched last Saturday, after I watched Digimon Adventure Tri Coexistence, the way that movie ended, I threw in Future, because it's like, okay, I've got to find out what's going to happen now.
Yeah.
Because it's like, what just happened?
Yeah.
What? Did this just turn into Neon Genesis Digi-Vangelion?
Yes.
Because that's kind of how it ended.
Kind of.
Good night. So yeah, I did jump in and do that.
Yeah.
And then other than that, I don't know if I've really watched much of anything else.
Okay.
So yeah. What do we got in the news?
All right. So what do we got in the news? We actually have quite a bit of news. We got some new release information about an actual a movie coming out of.
Oh, and I finished all of The Realist Hero Rebuilt the Kingdom.
Oh, okay.
That I watched last week. Sorry, I had to throw that in there because I kind of forgot I finished it. Because I finished it while I was taking care of the PS4 for you last Friday.
That's right.
So anyway.
Yeah. All right. So in the news, this highly anticipated Ukraine animated feature called, I'm probably going to butcher it, Mevka, Mavka.
Mevka?
Mevka. That sounds better. Mevka. We could be butchering this.
I don't know. I'm not Ukrainian.
It is Ukrainian, so
apparently, according to the pre-show, I can't even say Encanto. So,
all right, Makevia, however you pronounce this, there again, be like if I'm butchering it, I apologize. The 4th song will finally bring its traditional root magic to the theaters in December 29th, 2020. Apparently, it's from a Ukrainian animation studio called Anagrade Studios, Film.ua group. Apparently, this is something new they're doing. I've never heard of the film. I watched the trailer when I was doing the notes, and like, man, this looks good, like Disney quality good.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it will be rolling out in December 29th of this year, 2020, and it will get screenings in the UK starting in February from the 10th to the 17th. So if you're in the UK and you want to just check out what this film's about, go check it out. And if you are from the UK and you see it, please let us know what you think. In other news, so going into like a brief summary, Makev, however you pronounce it. How did you pronounce it?
I'm assuming it's from how you spelled it was like Mevka or something like that.
Mevka. Yeah, Mevka. I'll give that. Mevka. Serves as guardian of the heart of the magical forest and its soul, and her journey begins with falling in love with a gifted musician named Lucas, a ordinary village boy. Her feelings force her to face the impossible choice between love and her duty to protect the world. Mevka is the embodiment of virtual of selfless love, protecting nature, harmony, and unity of two universes, the world of the Force and the world of people. So that gives you a small synopsis of what this film's about. So hopefully we get it over here in the States, and maybe we can review it at some point. All right, so going into some Aardman news. So apparently there are going to be 2 new films coming out from Aardman. And they are going to be, I think they're going to be Netflix, I believe. It's going to be, one is going to be a brand new Chicken Run movie. And that's going to be Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget.
Yes.
And the other, I believe it is going to be a Walla and Gromit misadventure. This movie...
That sounds about right.
Yeah, it hasn't been... It's an untitled project, but it is in the works. Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget. Let's see. Over the years... yeah, it's in the works. It should premiere on Netflix in 2023. All right, so synopsis. Having pulled off the death-defying escape from the twiddled farm, Ginger has finally found her dream, a peaceful island, sanctuary for the full flock, far from danger from the human world. When she and Rocky, now voiced by Zachary Levi, hatches a little girl named Molly. Ginger's happy end seems complete. Back to the mainland, the whole of Chicken Kind faces a new and terrifying threat for Ginger and her team, even if it means putting their own hard-won freedom at risk. This time, they're breaking in. So that's the synopsis of Chicken Run, Dawn of the Nugget. All right, so in Kanto news,
or however you say it,
yeah, however you pronounce it, Walt Disney's Encanto has won the Golden Globe for Best Motion Picture Animated for the year. And yeah, bravo to the team at Walt Disney Studios for Encanto.
Or however it's pronounced.
However pronounced, we're probably going to get in.
We've been getting it wrong all evening, apparently.
Apparently, so we'll probably do a reaction to it. I don't know when, but we will get to one so we can get that out of the ballpark. We can get that out there for you guys, and yeah. So that's all we have in the news.
Actually, I've looked up showtimes because I was curious.
Yeah,
we missed all the theatrical showtimes. We're just gonna have to watch it on Disney Plus.
Yeah, I knew that.
So anyway,
yeah. So we'll watch it in Disney Plus and then give you guys a reaction. A late reaction, but
yes. Oh well, but better late than never.
Exactly. All right. So that's all we have in the news.
You missed something.
What did I miss?
Netflix released a trailer for the Cuphead show.
Oh, yeah, I saw something about that.
Yeah, it looks interesting.
Okay.
You should go watch it. The trailer, I mean.
Yeah.
All I saw was Cuphead went to the carnival and the devil, and he did something with the devil. That's about all I know what's going on in there.
Okay.
But it's a very classic style. It's kind of a mixture of the modern digital animation, because this one is made digitally, digital vector stuff. But it kind of still has that old rubber hose animation style from the classic cartoons. Yeah. So yeah, go give that a look, see, and see if that. And I think I said it comes out in March, I believe. So yeah, there's that.
All right, good deal.
That's all I got.
All right, good deal.
Guess we need to jump into the spoiler-free section of our review of Digimon Adventure Tri Part 5, Coexistance.
Yes.
It's really sad when you have to take a breath in the middle of your middle of the movie title. Like I said, this turns into... I'm not really spoiling too much. I guess I am. Maybe. By saying this turns into Neon Genesis Digi-Vangelion by the end of it. That's I can
kind of.
I'm going to say this because I've already decided that's the subtitle for this episode.
Okay.
Neon Genesis Digi-Vangelion. I I'm just gonna get this out there right now because this is a issue I think I have with where this has gone. The first 3 episodes of Tri, those were very well paced and very well animated.
Okay.
I think they were intending this to be a 9-movie series because they are cramming in what feels like 6 movies worth of information into 3. Especially with some other problems I'm going to bring up much later.
Okay.
This thing, it goes through like a lot of stuff. I mean, we start off in the digital world, we go back to the human world, and then we go back to the digital world again by the end of it. Why? I don't remember.
There's a lot of portal hopping.
A lot of portal hopping. It's like, okay, this is interesting. It's not bad. Don't get me wrong. I by the time you get this far into it, you kind of have to finish it.
Yeah, you're basically in the last leg of it.
Yeah, because you're just like, you got to figure out what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
I thought this had a lot of good fight. This had some good fight scenes going into it against Meicomon's newest form.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's definitely the beginning of the climax, let's say.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my thoughts. It's good. If you've gotten this far, you might as well finish at this point. Go do it.
Yeah, exactly. I enjoyed it. There again, like Drew said, there's a lot of like portal hopping. There's a lot of portal hopping. There's a lot of trying to we've got 2 films to finish this. We got a lot of information we want to digitally dump on our audience.
Mm-hmm.
So let's start dumping it here. We got a lot of data we got to dump, so we're going to dump it here. And
format the hard drive.
Yeah, in a lot of ways. I enjoy a lot of this. Definitely towards the end of the film, like, oh crap, this is where this is going. This is where that whole scene came from. It's like, oh snap.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I expected what they were doing. I did like how they concluded a certain character's arc. It was like, oh wow, that's what that was like. Oh, okay. So
I have a feeling we may be on different sides of that ocean.
Maybe. I love that they threw a bone.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
We'll get to that later.
Curse you. We'll get to that.
Because I brought it up a lot during the
shut up about it.
But anyways, I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's got like Drew said, there's a lot of digital hard drive dumping.
There's a lot of digital nonsense in this too.
Indeed. It does leave you on a cliffhanger. It's like, oh crap, they did that.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay, I've got to finish this now. And so yeah, we are going to finish it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it's good. It's got little problems here and there, but overall, I enjoyed it.
Well, then I guess we need to go ahead and do the bumpers so we can spoil this thing. Don't forget that you can download. Don't forget that you can. Don't forget that you can listen to us record the podcast live every Tuesday over on our Facebook page, the Cellcast, our Twitch channel, the Cellcast Gaming, and on YouTube at Cellcast. Also, don't forget to join our Patreon if you would like to support us monetarily. At $1, you'll get our everlasting thanks. At our $5 tier, you can get some artwork from Jacob, and at our $10 tier, you can get bloopers for every episode we've released that I've remembered to release them for. And you can get commentaries from different movies. So come check us out over there if you would like to support us financially. Every other week, join the Retro Rewind Pod as they travel back 15 or more years along the entertainment space-time continuum in their mission to review movies and games, establishing what is still worth your time today. Expect fun banter and trivial insights from Francisco and Paul, the Master Interrupter Powers, and rotating guest hosts who are all out of time. Do you like Star Wars? I don't just mean the original trilogy. Along with that, I mean the prequels, the sequels, the anthologies, the animated shows, and of course, who doesn't like Baby Yoda? Well, if you've been in the fandom for any length of time, you know how toxic the fandom can get. And if you'd like to be able to discuss a galaxy far, far away in a much more positive light, might I suggest searching out The Outer Rim, a Facebook group dedicated to all of Star Wars, and check out their YouTube channel, which you can easily find at Pop Americana, which the podcast you're currently listening to is also a part of. To find that and more, check out the link in the description. The following is a spoil... No, wait, hang on. I want to do this differently. And I'm leaving this part in. The following is a spoiler-filled review for Digimon Adventure Tri, Part 5, Coexistence. If you don't want to be spoiled, turn us off now. I can't get that to fit into the verse. Anyway... Cast and crew for Digimon Adventure Tri. You know what? I'm going to throw Kingdom Hearts connections in on this at the same time. All this for Digimon Adventure Tri Part 5 Coexistence. If you don't know who's in it by now, you haven't been paying attention. I'm skipping it until we get past Future. Because it's the same people.
Okay.
So what do we got in the info and stuff?
All right, info and stuff. It's very similar to the last, to what Drew said. If you want to find out the full listing of the info and stuff, please go back to episode 1, 2, 3, and you'll I think it's 1 and 2. I dropped that information, and from then on, it should drop the release dates of these films and when they're brought onto the physical formats and digital. So, if you want that information, please go back to episode 1 and 2 of Digimon Adventure Tri, Reunion and
Determination.
So, yeah, go back to those episodes and get all the info and stuff you want on those. For release dates and info and stuff, it has a 1.7. You know I'm having a bad ADD dyslexia day when I do that.
1.21 gigawatts?
Yeah, great Scott. What the heck is a gigawatt?
It's a gigawatt. It's pronounced weirdly, but anyway.
All right, 7.1 out of 10 on IMDb. It was released in Japan on September 30th, 2017, in North America on May 10th, 2018. It was released on region-free DVD and Blu-ray in Japan on November 2nd, 2017, and in the U.S. at Anime Expo on January 5th, 2018 through the 15th through the 8th. 5th through the 8th. So yeah, that's all I have for an info and stuff.
Okay, getting into the summary. An enraged Meikumon digivolves to Mei Crackmon and leaves through a distortion. Himikawa is then briefly seen stumbling across the digital world in search of Tapirmon. As Digimon begin materializing in the real world, Hackmon explains to Nishijima and Professor Mochizuki that Meikumon was born from a fragment of Apoclamon's remnant data. Meiko was meant to suppress the darkness within her partner Digimon. However, homeostasis considers Meikumon's unrestrained power to be an existential threat to both worlds and decides to eliminate her. Meanwhile, the Digidestined try to survive the digital world's attempts to expel them. The Digidestined manage to return to the real world, but are persecuted by the people. With Nishijima's help, the Digidestined and their partner Digimon hide in their school to avoid the media. The Digidestined try to console Meiko during their stay. The next day, a rampant Mei Crackmon confronts Meiko near the school. Jessamon intervenes, and his attacks result in Mei Crackmon digivolving to Ragulmon. That is a dumb name.
Ragulmon.
It sounds like a spaghetti sauce. Ragu. As the situation deteriorates, homeostasis possesses Kari once again and warns the Digidestined not to interfere. When Jessamon takes Ragulmon To the digital world, the Digidestined, their partner Digimon, and Nishijima pursue them. They arrive in a desert area of the digital world where Alphamon joins the fray. 6 of the Digimon return to their in-training forms as a result of Alphamon's attack, leaving only Omnimon, Ragulmon, Alphamon, and Jesmon. In the digital world, a distressed Himikawa is... Sorry. In the digital world, a distressed Himikawa is still searching for Tapirmon, but finds herself in the dark ocean. We will never see her again!
Dum, dum, dum.
Nishijima, when she seemingly drowns, Nishijima senses this and laments his inability to save her. Mako falls into despair and asks the Digidestined to destroy Ragulmon. Tai resolves to carry out her wish despite the objections of the other Digidestined. During the battle, a fissure opens, causing Tai and Nishijima to fall from the cliff. Never to be seen or heard from again. I'm kidding.
Quote unquote.
In the aftermath, Ragulmon is incapacitated near Tai's goggles. Distraught by her brother's disappearance, let's face it, she thought he was dead. Kari becomes engulfed in corrupted digital code, which causes Nyaromon to dark warp Digivolve into Ophanimon fall down mode, creating a dark portal. As the portal opens, Ophanimon merges with Ragulmon into Ordinimon. The real world is subsequently covered in a universal blackout as the invading Digimon become able to move. Afterwards, the digital world begins to swallow the real world. Refusing to give up, Matt takes Tai's goggles and rallies his friends. And as I stated, this turns into Neon Genesis Digi-Vangelion.
Pretty much.
By the way, interesting trivia thing for this. This is actually the first appearance ever of Ophanimon fall down mode.
Yeah.
But getting back into Neon Genesis Digi-Vangelion, because that's my first like.
Okay.
This thing just goes off the rails in the last 5 minutes of this movie. And a part of me is just like, yeah, let's do this thing. It's like, okay, this is a great way to cliffhanger this. Where things just went bonkers. I kind of like, and plus everything leading up to that point. I mean, once Tai disappears into the crack, into the fissure, along with guy who's obviously going to be dead next movie, Kari just kind of going, I hate everything, kill it all.
Pretty much.
Okay, she's a little bit more sociopathic than I expected. If depression can hit her that fast, that quickly, and that badly, she goes from being what is her symbol? Is it light?
Light.
She goes from being the personification of light, according to the Digimon world, to being kill it all, kill everything. It's like, good night. But that whole sequence, including the merging of Ophanimon fall down mode, not Ophanimon fall down mode. That's not the name of that thing. Ophanimon's what they merge into. No, it is Ophanimon fall down mode.
Yeah,
it's merges into Ordinimon.
Ordinimon.
Yeah, when Ragumon and that's what I'm just going to call it now is Ragumon and when they merge into Ordinimon, that sequence, that animation sequence is cool.
Oh yeah,
especially as the eyes merge. It's like, oh, that is crazy. That is nuts.
I like it.
Where is this going? Of course, they merge the eyes, and then you never see those eyes again because Ordinimon has tentacles covering her eyes. I'm sitting there going, I think I've wandered into the wrong side of anime enough to know what this means. Thankfully, that's not where it goes. It's just crazy and cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. And it's one of those things where as soon as it ended, and I'm seeing the credits going, I was like, okay, how long do I have until my stream of Sonic Saturdays? I got 2 hours. I've got time.
I can watch this.
I can watch this other thing. I can just go ahead and throw it in there. Of course, it was during the middle of the future. It's like, oh, I know what the subtitle should be. Neon Genesis Digi-Vangelion. And I was debating whether I should go to Future, but Future gave me a different and much better title. So I'm going with that for that, but I'm going with Digi-Vangelion here. But anyway, that is actually my first like is the chaos of the ending, which I have dubbed Neon Genesis Digi-Vangelion.
All right, so my number one like...
Digi-Evolve your Digimon, Shinji.
I don't want to tame it! Why are you making me do this, Dad?
Something about Digimodify. I don't know. Get that stupid weird white Pokemon with the red diamond to turn your Digimon bigger. I don't know. I don't know why I went into Tamers. Okay,
went into Tamers. All right. So my first like, and if you watch the series of movies, our reviews over these, you can probably tell exactly where I'm going with this one. I'll give you one guess.
I'm going to make a wild guess here. I think it has something to do with my third dislike.
Maybe.
I think we referenced it already once.
We have.
When I said we were on different sides of this ocean.
That we are, apparently. So my first like is actually Himikawa. That's her pronunciation?
Himikawa.
Yeah, Himikawa's fate. And the fact to be like she is gone literally off the deep end looking for her Digimon partner.
Which is crazy considering how shallow that thing was for most of the time she was in it.
Yeah, true. And so she finds herself in the dark ocean and she drowns. I'm like, whoa, okay, they went there. I was like, wow, okay, that's very a good personification of what depression is, or what, mental illness or whatever can drown you and sorrow and regret brings you down. And I love, because there again, I was a huge fan of season 2. And that is used throughout the series, even though there's no conclusion to it, which would have been really cool if they did, but they didn't either way. So I love that they brought that in. They brought that into this story. And the idea that it was Himikawa's desire, and it drove her crazy. And so she was literally consumed by her desires and her grief and everything. And so it's the idea of depression, or the idea of you've fallen into your sin and now you are being consumed by it.
Mm-hmm.
So I love those parallels when it comes to stuff like this. And I thought it was really interesting and really cool how they did that. I was like, oh, when you saw Himikawa walk out and it's water, and it's like, oh crap, she's in the dark ocean. Oh, this is gonna get bad in a hurry. And you see those creatures.
Whereas I said, curse Jacob.
Yes, I thoroughly enjoyed that scene tremendously, and I love the ramifications of it and all that great stuff. It's a sad scene when you see a character go down like that, but it's just like kind of like, oh my gosh, they went there. So yeah, this is my first dislike, my first like. So what is your second like?
I will explain my problems with the Dark Ocean stuff. Admittedly, it's not the Dark Ocean itself. It's how that goes. But when we get to dislikes.
Yeah.
In the meantime, likes. I like the fact that apparently Mako must be from Osaka, Georgia. In the English dub. I had to go with Osaka because here's the thing. If you've never dealt with... So here's the thing. Most anime in the Japanese dub is recorded in Tokyo, because that's essentially, along with being the capital of Japan, it's also kind of the Hollywood of Japan at the same time.
True.
So most people have most of the anime you hear when you're hearing the Japanese version, the accent you're hearing is the Tokyo accent.
Yeah.
So usually when they go to a different town, and when you have a different accent, it's usually the next one is Osaka. Mostly because I know this because I watched an anime way back in the day called Azumanga Daioh, in which one of the characters who never actually learned the real name of, we just know her as Osaka, was from Osaka.
Okay.
and she talked like a hillbilly redneck in the English dub to
Oh gosh.
give you the idea of what kind of the difference between being from the north to be. I'm kind of doing the Osaka accent. It's not exact, or the accent of the character Osaka. So the minute she starts going into, well, aren't you a peach, hun? I thought, apparently in the I can't even say it right. The Digimon version of the real world, which I have issues with, but we'll get to that in future. Apparently, Osaka is in Georgia instead of in Japan, because she never said it was Osaka, Georgia.
Right.
Osaka is where she was from. All the Japanese, the American English dub ever said was she was from the South. I'm thinking that's either Kyoto. Nope, this has got to be Osaka because that's the one that they always make fun of.
Right.
So it's got to be Osaka. I don't know for certain, and I don't know as much about Japan as I probably lead it on to believe, and I could be wrong about this.
Right.
But I just love, like, yeah, Mako is from Osaka, Georgia. Didn't even know that was a thing. Anyway, what is your next like?
Oh my gosh. This is going to be a good review. I can just tell. This is going to be a good review. All right. So my second is what I've titled Give Way to not Ophanimon, but it's the form which they merge.
Ornament.
Ordinomon. Give way to Ordinomon. I absolutely love that scene. Be like the fact, be like Tai, he dies, disappears, quote unquote,
falls into the crack,
slipping through the crack. And so be like you have Kari in the previous scene where Tai and the teacher disappears and Kari's sitting there waving, by herself. And she's just be like, where'd you go, big brother? I'm like, oh crap, this is where this happens.
Yeah.
Because there again, if you follow Digimon, be like Kari is always definitely in season 2 and definitely in season 1, whenever Tai would disappear or like something would go wrong, it was like she always kind of depended on Tai to help her because she's the little sister. So when that happened, when Tai disappeared underneath the waves for a moment, and she said that, I'm like, oh no, this is where this all goes wrong. And so be like you get the scene where big battle happens, Yesmon cracks the ground open, Tai gets swallowed, and it's just like, oh no. And I think Gatomon had Digiball back into Gatomon. I think that's right. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, had Digiball back into Gatomon, her champion level.
No, she went all the way down to...
Oh yeah, she was Salamon.
No, she was below Salamon. She was the one with the whistle.
No, I think
the baby. She went all the way down to baby form.
Okay,
and then went back to Gatomon for the actual merge.
Yeah. Either
anyway.
Either or.
It was one of those persons like, will y'all just pick a form and stay in it for a couple minutes?
Well, they got to show everything.
And no, it's just like you don't have to de-digivolve all the way back to lump of pudding form. I'm sorry, but that is what the baby form looks like.
Pretty much.
It's like, here's just a random blob.
Very true. So the idea that Kari falls into depression or this dark data starts coming out of her, which there again makes kind of no sense. It's like you could have used something else with that, but you didn't.
Like we said, like I said earlier, they've tried to cram 9 movies into 6.
That is true.
But didn't realize the issue until after they'd made 3 of them.
Very true. So the idea that like Gatomon double warp digivolves into what's character's name again?
Ophanimon fall down mode.
Yeah, Ophanimon dark mode, and then merges with
Mako.
No,
it's Ragumon.
Ragumon.
Or Ragulmon.
Ragulmon.
I'm still gonna say Ragumon.
Yeah, Ragulmon, and then becomes the character she becomes. I'm like, oh, dude, they went. I mean, I love when shows like when Digimon and stuff like this go dark. They tap into the emotion of depression and all the great stuff. Their grand depression is not, it's not great. If you ever had it, if you have it, talk to people. So it's just, and I feel like even Dark Genai, I think the next movie, I believe, I think it's the next movie, or it's this movie, I can't remember which. No, it's the next movie. That's right. Never mind. Let's not go into spoilers for the next film. But either way, it's the fact of it, like when they two merge, and the cascading of Tice's parents and Kari's depression and all that. I was like, wow, okay, they went there, and I was like, dude, this is amazing. So yeah,
my third like is the machinations of Dark Genai.
Oh yeah,
because even though Dark Genai is not as much in this one as he is in like the one before this and the one after it,
yeah,
you can see the handiwork he's moving around in the background.
Oh yeah,
what he's been doing all this time and how it's starting to affect the Digidestined and everything else. And how you can tell he is just trying to get to Ordenimon. That is his goal. That's been his goal this entire time, was to get Ordenimon. Now, here's the thing. Remember last week we were talking about King Drazel?
Yeah.
And I said that he never showed up again?
Yeah.
And you mentioned that he comes back up in this, which
yes,
he does.
He does.
Well, apparently I didn't realize that the Digimon wiki that I was looking at did list a Drazel for Digimon Adventure Tri, but also another Drazel. It had a much longer entry.
Really?
In Data Squad.
Oh, yeah,
that's what Drazel was created for.
Yeah, that's right. He was from Data Squad.
And his name has something to do. I looked it up. It's something to do with like a dragon and something else.
Something like that.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Anyway. So it's like, okay, so they are bringing some stuff in from other parts of Digimon besides 1 and 2, which are the only ones we assumed they would bring stuff in from. It makes sense because in some degree, you can kind of tell the way this... It's not really explained, I think, here. I think it's more explained here than it is elsewhere.
Right.
But you get the feeling that there is more than just the real world, quote unquote, and the digital world.
Yeah.
And, of course, whatever world the Dark Ocean is in.
Yeah.
Or apparently, as one thing I read, the Quantum Realm.
Yeah.
Or, that they were... Quantum Sea, that's what it was called.
Yeah, the Quantum Sea.
The Quantum Sea, which they actually mentioned the Quantum Sea a couple of times, but everything falling back into it.
Yeah.
And here you are telling me it's called the Dark Ocean. I'm thinking, is it this? I did not knowing it's the same thing till I was looking it up.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, I see where that would be a problem.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, I'm still going... Well, if you've got those two worlds, what's to say the Tamer's world is not out there somewhere, the Data Squad world is not out there somewhere, and all the other ones. And whatever the fourth one is, Frontiers.
Yeah, Frontiers.
That one's probably out there somewhere, too. And those are technically also different digital worlds and real worlds, too. So, multiverse. Yay!
Yeah!
And there's machinations going across the Digimon multiverse. Yay! Because this might actually be the same King Drazel, because they never really say it's not the same King Drazel.
Very true.
And so, if Dark Genai is working for King Drazel, and that's a nice little connection, even though I have no idea what Data Squad is about. So, I like the idea of how much getting back to Dark Genai, and I'll just say it, his version of the Digimon Emperor, which I think I have failed to mention, that his Digimon Emperor form is voiced by a different actor than his Dark Genai form.
Really?
Yes. The Digimon Emperor form is voiced by Todd Haberkorn.
Okay. Who's that?
A very prolific voice actor that Funimation has used in many recent years, but he's always the guy who gets to do all these big, loud, exciting voices.
Ah, okay.
I'm trying to think of something we've seen that you would have heard him in besides this. But I mean, you can definitely hear him in his Digimon Emperor form in that voice.
Oh yeah.
So I mean, you could hear that. I mean, he plays shoot, what is the guy in Fairy Tail? the main guy, Natsu. He's
Yeah.
Natsu in Fairy Tail.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
The main character. He also plays a character in Dragon Ball Super
Mm-hmm.
and Resurrection F when we get to Resurrection F.
Okay.
And I can't name Jocko the space he works for the Space Patrol.
Okay.
Anyway, moving on. Galactic Patrolman, that's what that's called.
Okay.
So yeah, the Machinations of Dark Jedi is my third and final like for this movie.
Okay.
What's yours?
Okay, mine. There again, this movie starts dumping a lot of information on you. That how Meicoomon was the kind of like an offshoot from Apocalymon's data or something like that.
For some reason contains some of his data.
Yeah, it contains some of his data and all the machinations of that. And I'm like, wait a minute. So I think it's who said that? That was Hackmon. Yeah, Hackmon basically going on saying that that Meicoomon was a mistake.
Hackmon, one of the most annoying characters in all of Digimon Adventure Tri.
Yeah, basically,
not because he's a poorly written character.
Right.
It's because he never actually will speak without. He will not give us a straight answer on anything.
That is true.
Like, I'm on your side, but I work for homeostasis. We must preserve the balance. Yeah, and you're going to do that by attacking Meicoomon as Jessmon.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, Hackmon.
Yeah, pretty much. So this idea that Meicoomon was a mistake. Meicoomon wasn't meant to exist. And that got
not with that data in there, but yeah.
Yeah, not with that data because be like
Still,
even
you don't say that when Mako was right there.
Yeah. And
it's
the fact
like saying to Tai Agumon shouldn't exist. You're about to get yourself punched.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much. So it was this idea that Meicoomon was a mistake. She wasn't supposed to exist, and now homeostasis is going to try to destroy her because we can't have an imbalance. Well, the idea that something was created and was a mistake, be like definitely if you take it into the Christian idea, the Christian ideology or the Christian theology, that God doesn't make mistakes, that he created each and every one of us for a reason, even though sometimes we make mistakes and we fall down, and there are sometimes we feel like we have no purpose, but then we have to look beyond our circumstances and realize that God did bring us into existence to glorify Him in some capacity or form, even if be like the idea that Meicoomon is simply a digital creature. Her existence does matter, and our characters very vibrantly say this throughout it, that Meicoomon does exist. She is real, no matter the circumstance in which she was created. That Meiku Meiku was to somehow extract that data from her to purify her in some fashion or form. So. And obviously didn't work.
Mako, it wasn't that Mako had to extract the data. She was just supposed to stay with Meicoomon, and keep Meicoomon from feeling lonely enough that she would draw on her darker emotions,
that's right.
which is what gets Apocalymon's data to go bonkers.
Yeah, exactly. So I like the idea that
here's an idea. Why don't you just run a virus check on Meicoomon and let's move on?
Yeah, it's true.
Actually, technically, I guess it would be a Trojan.
Anyways, but that'd be too simple. That'd be way too simple.
There's so many things that would made this show go much faster if they would just have done it.
Very true. So it was the idea that Meicoomon was an accident, and there again, none of us are accidents. There are some people that, like I said before, some people say, "Well, I wasn't supposed to be born." Well, you were. God created you for a reason.
Exactly.
Even though like we go through troubling times. And we go through this valley, the shadow of death, that, that death is looming upon us, that we always see is darkness and gloom, like Himikawa saw in the Dark Ocean, that be like, we do have those moments and times when, you know, all we see is darkness, but it's like there again, I deal with mild depression. There again, it doesn't define me, but it's something that I deal with. It's the fact to be like, you have friends, you have family that do care about you, and that God is still there. If you believe in him, if you have a solid relationship with Jesus Christ, he is going to be there. He's never going to leave you, never forsake you. Even at your darkest time, even sometimes you don't think he's there. He's there. He's sitting in the background saying, hey, I'm still here. Kind of tapping you on the back. He's like, you're still there. I'm still here. Like, don't give up. Even though sometimes it's very easy to give up. Be
Never
like,
give up. Never
surrender. Exactly.
I know you don't like that movie, but it fit.
Yeah, it did. But yeah, it's just the idea that you do exist for a reason. Be like, if you doubt that, talk to people that care about you. Talk to those people that your loved ones, those best friends of yours, and they will tell you straight up, you do matter. And sometimes for me, that's a good reminder, because sometimes I think that. But at the same time, be like, we all go through those valleys. And so we need to be reminded that we are loved, that we do matter, and that God is always with us, no matter what. So I thought that would be a really good tie-in to another theological topic.
Okay.
So yeah, that's my number 3.
Jumping into our dislikes, since you mentioned Himikawa in that last one, I'm going to move my 3rd up to number 1.
Okay.
Dislike. Now, this problem is not necessarily this movie's fault.
Okay.
It's just this movie was essentially the nail in the coffin, so to speak. Pardon the pun. It's not really a pun. But this was the point where we realized that her character is not changing from this.
No.
So every there's no way they can fix her character by this point, because they've written her out of the show.
Yeah.
And that's the fact that they did not know what to do with Himikawa after they got the kids to the digital world. After she got to the digital world, they did not know what to do with her. Think about it. And all through the 4th movie, what do we always see is her walk across the desert, find Tapirmon, go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, and then at the beginning of this one, she's going through the desert again. It's like, what happened to Tapirmon? Last we saw, you nearly choked him to death. Did he escape? Is he alive? Did you kill Tapirmon? Himikawa. What's going on, Himikawa? And then the next time we see Himikawa after that one scene, it's, oh, she's in the Dark Ocean. We're just getting rid of her now. It's like, okay, so this is in one sense, now that I know that the Dark Ocean and the Quantum Sea are the same thing, really nice if the English dub would use similar terminology to refer to the same thing, so I'd know what the blink you're talking about. It's coming from someone who's not
so fluent.
Is fluent in Digimon, admittedly. That's a good foreshadowing to what might happen if everything goes to pot. Admittedly.
Right.
However, you did not know what to do with Himikawa after she showed up here. You had nothing for her to do, to the point where she essentially, while she doesn't die off screen, her death was pointless.
Right.
There was no point to her death whatsoever. Character deaths, be they good guys or bad guys,
right,
should always have a point if they are major characters. She was a major character up until end of episode 3. Yeah, she still was doing something episode 4 enough to where we were interested to see what would happen to her.
Yeah,
not much happened other than she did find Tapirmon, but Tapirmon didn't remember her, so she decided apparently to choke him to death. I don't know if that's what happened, I'm assuming.
Right.
But they just completely dropped the ball with her character here. Admittedly, they started rushing once we got to episode 4 to get through all the story that they were trying to get through.
Yeah.
Because there is a pacing problem starting with that, and it's really bad in this one because they had to get through all of the exposition for movie 6 in this movie. Because movie 6 is I mean, there's exposition there, but there's story going on there, but a lot of it is we need to defeat the angel when you get right down
Pretty
to
much
it.
the Dark Angel.
We need to save Gatomon by attacking Gatomon.
Yeah.
And Meikumon. We need to save her by attacking the combined forms of Meikumon and Gatomon. This isn't creepy at all. This is dark, but we had to explain why it's going to be so dark. And so it goes into a lot of this explanation of not just, all the mechanics of what's going on, but also through all of Mako's emotions through all this. So admittedly, you have no time for Himikawa since she's going to just get killed about 3/4 of the way through this movie.
Yeah.
And the only person who knows that is someone who happened to sense it. And it's like, I'm sitting there going, y'all didn't know what to do with this character and you dropped the ball with her. In my opinion.
Okay, fair enough.
Because, she dies in the Dark Ocean, and that means something within the Digimon universe. Do not get me wrong.
Right.
She fell into the depression, and the depression killed her.
Yeah.
At the same time, I'm thinking, I should be able to follow how she got to that depression, because all we know is what caused her depression. Admittedly, I recognize depression as in many times irrational.
Mm-hmm.
I recognize that.
In some cases, yes.
But in this case, it was the only thing we was like, Tapirmon didn't remember her, ran off, and apparently she couldn't find him again, and that caused her to go deadly with herself.
Yeah.
And I just feel like they just did not know what to do with her character, and they just said, well, we can't do anything more with her. Let's just get rid of her so we don't have to worry about her in the next one.
Okay.
That's just how it feels to me.
Okay, I see your point. I do see your point. I'm
just going with the context of the movie.
Right.
Because I don't have the context of Digimon Season 2, which is where you're pulling all this Dark Ocean stuff from.
Right. Yeah, and the fact that kind of interjecting with your thought, the fact that Himikawa, her entire goal was to find her Digimon partner.
Yes.
The entire time. And so...
Also, I will throw this other thing out there.
Certainly.
I'm a sucker for redemption stories.
Yeah, agreed.
There was a prime setup for a redemption for her.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as she got to the digital world, they could have continued her story to where she realized what she was doing was wrong and then could work to help the characters. And no, she just sank lower and lower in, and that's annoying.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
It would have been cool if they'd have kept her on the side of good by the end of it. But anyway.
Yeah. But I love the idea that Himikawa, there again, her entire objective throughout this entire story was to find her Digimon partner, which is Tapirmon. And be like, she finally finds him. He has no memory because obviously the reboot. Mm-hmm. And so her entire world, her entire goal was to find him, and he has no memory of her. She literally has a psychotic break. But
she knew, I don't recognize that, but she knew that's what was going to happen. The Digi-Destined knew that was going to happen.
Right.
Now, admittedly, the one big difference between the Digi-Destined and, I say the Digi-Destined because she was Digi-Destined also.
Right.
But our heroes and Himikawa, the difference between them, admittedly, was that Himikawa had not seen Tapirmon in years.
Right.
Whereas, and at the very least, the Digi-Destined had been hanging out with them for the past 3-4 months, or however long it's been since reunion.
Right.
Admittedly, she hadn't seen it, and she had been facing massive amounts of depression and missing Tapirmon all that time because she'd been separated from him for so long because he was essentially dead.
Yeah.
And because of the reboot, he was able to come back, but at no point did it occur to her, it's like, oh yeah, he's not going to remember who I am, just like the Digi-Destined Digimon aren't going to remember who they are. So I've got to step up to protect him, not strangle him to nearly death.
Yeah. But she had found all of her hope and everything was built upon be like that reunion with Tapirmon, that she would remember him. And obviously as we know later on, he doesn't. And so her entire life literally imploded on itself. And so now she's literally walking in,
I guess what I'm trying to get at is her death is unsatisfying.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because there was, and that's a problem I'm going to run into. At
I would agree with you on that. Yeah,
of Tri with another character.
Yeah,
is that if you're going to something like this, I mean, I understand that crap happens.
Yeah,
sometimes people die, and there's not much you can do about it, and it's not what we. It's not.
It's not the way we want.
Not a satisfying way to handle a character.
Right.
Or another person.
Yeah.
We wish we could get more with them. We wish that things could have happened differently. So I understand that. But the thing is, this is a story.
Yeah.
If you don't, you could do, you could have, you can literally write the character to their best.
Yes.
They can actually become, even if when they go as dark as Himikawa goes.
Yeah.
There's still that turnaround. There's still that possibility of a redemption story.
Right.
She could pull a Digimon Emperor and turn back into her version of Ken.
Yeah.
Right down to it. They don't go that way because they wanted to double down, I guess, on the darker story.
Yeah, I can see that.
And there's a part of me that's like, I get that you're wanting to do a dark story. Don't get me wrong. This is also supposed to be a nostalgia trip for people who are fans of Digimon, and you could still do the darkness where her getting all the way to the dark ocean, and maybe something happens, and she realizes her mistake.
Mm-hmm.
Because crazier things have happened, especially in Digimon.
Right.
And she could recover, go find Tapirmon, and act as Tapirmon again, like the rest of the Digidestined are going with their Digimon.
Mm-hmm.
She could do that, and that would have been, and then she could have joined in the last battle. That would have been awesome, and show how no matter how bad and dark it gets, you can find forgiveness and redemption.
Agreed.
And come back and be the person you're supposed to be.
Yeah,
it does happen.
Agreed.
I know it doesn't happen as much as we like.
Right.
And sometimes it's harder and next to impossible for many people.
Right.
But it does happen.
Agreed.
And to some degree, this is Digimon. I recognize this is Digimon for adults, not Digimon for the kids like the original show was.
Exactly.
But you're still in that group. You could still run it. You could have still had her story be satisfying, as satisfying as it was, and still have her come a good guy, and it may even be more satisfying for us as characters, where she has to get forgiveness not just from Tapirmon, but she has to get the forgiveness from the other kids, from the Digidestined. She could have done that. Teaching even adults to forgive is something every movie should be doing.
I agree.
Not every movie should be doing, but I mean,
the
importance of forgiving, and it doesn't have to be hollow. That would have been just as strong a story as her dying alone in the dark ocean. In fact, I think it would be better, personally.
Yeah.
But that's not where they decided to go. And I will run into this issue elsewhere, though. At least that one has a bit of saving grace. We'll come to that on the next episode of the Subcast.
Yes. Very good points. Very good points. All right, so going into this is my first dislike. Right?
Yes, this is your first dislike.
This is my first dislike. That's right.
We had to get through my rant.
Yes, it was a very good rant. Mine kind of goes back into my second like with the idea of what creates. It's not a Funnymon. What is it again? Ardennimon. Thank you. I'm terrible with names. So Ardennimon.
Well, admittedly, we only saw them for like 5 minutes in here, and Ophanimon Fall Down mode is only in all of Digimon Adventure Tri for 5 seconds. So, do not feel bad.
All right, so the idea that Kari falls into this oppressive state, and it's not the dark ocean that consumes her, but rather it's this dark data that it comes pouring out of her system, her body, and infects Gatomon. I'm like, okay, cool idea.
I mean, Kari and Gatomon have a connection, and what can happen to her can affect Gatomon.
Yeah, I agree. Like,
we saw how Agumon transformed into Skull Greymon in the first season because of Tai. And then I called him Sora. It's just wrong. Same spiky hair, but so I mean, it's possible that she could have somehow forced Gatomon to Dark Digivolve.
That's a possibility. But it was this idea. It's like, okay, where did this dark data come from? I'd be like,
From her depression.
Yeah, I agree. It came from her depression.
From the onslaught of the darkness that just flooded her soul because she thinks her brother is dead. That's why.
Okay, good enough. Good enough.
We're in the digital world. There is a little bit of digi magic happening here.
Agreed. I found it very
good and bad.
Agreed. I found it very odd they use, this dark data that came out of her and corrupted Gatomon.
Also, bear in mind, there's always been, at least in this, and I understand that. What is the stupid AI that possesses her body? Homeostasis. Homeostasis. Apparently, she infected her. Possessed her twice in Tri, and from what I understand, at least once in the series.
Yeah.
So there's obviously
that was a good point. That was a good point.
She is special in that she's got this connection.
Yeah.
Apparently, the only other person who's got it is Himikawa. They could have built on that, by the way.
They could have.
But they didn't. And they could have made this work. Sorry. Backing up. Getting back on the straight. Back on topic. She's... Obviously, there's a little bit more that perhaps... A little more control data that... Perhaps, a little more control over data that Kari's got that perhaps everyone else does not.
Possible, yes.
Since she can apparently cause Gatomon to Digivolve, even if it's a dark, not just dark Digivolve, but dark warp Digivolve, without any Digivice whatsoever. I mean, even...
She's a very powerful character,
she's a very powerful character. So, I mean, yeah, when crap happens to her, crap's really about to go down.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is why that was possible.
I would agree with you there.
In fact, the minute that Ty got disappeared into the crack, and she goes, and you can already see the despair washing over Kari. Because bear in mind, I've not watched Digimon outside of Tri and the movie.
Yeah.
In 20 years.
Right.
And I don't remember. I've watched 2 even less than I did 1.
Right.
Okay? And I'm sitting there going, crap is about to hit the fan. This is not good.
I would agree with you on there. I completely agree with you. I just found it be like, the fact that Kari is a very special character. She's unique. She has a very unique touch or gift when it comes to the digital world. And kind of going back to that, you brought up a point that I had seemingly forgotten, the fact that homeostasis does possess Kari again before that, and the fact that Kari is resisting homeostasis, be like, get out of my head.
Yeah,
be like,
she's tired of being controlled.
Yeah, stop control.
So she's already weakened because she's been fighting essentially a digi-god.
Pretty much.
Get right down to it. She's been fighting that off, so she's already in a weakened state when Ty disappears into the crack. So she's like, where did you go, big brother? And you're going, crap.
It's like, oh no, it's going to happen.
Hallelujah, we were out of the Digi world before that happened.
Amen to that, because that would have been a smattering of, oh no, we're gonna die. Get the heck out of here. Like, D-Lit, get us out of here now.
Thank you, D-Lit, for getting that portal working before this happened.
Thank you very much. Anyway, so yes,
she says we're welcome.
All right, so the fact that it was digital, it was dark digital data coming out of Kari. There again, they're people that have been launched into the digital world. They're real people, but there's data coming out of her, which is kind of weird. But I understand where they're coming from.
I have other problems with this, but they will be waiting till future.
Okay,
because I have issues. Sorry, continue.
No, but yeah, just that whole little bit, and I was like, okay, you could have played the Dark Ocean, whatever with that, but you said to use this dark data. It's like, okay, I get where you're going. You could have played it a little better, but
also bear in mind machinations of Dark Jedi. We don't know what of that area he was obviously setting stuff up, and I'm not convinced he's not been messing with homeostasis too.
Yeah,
because we know so very precious little about homeostasis.
Strings a little bit.
Oh yeah, I mean, Dark Jedi through Himikawa was able to get the digital world rebooted, and he's about to get
The entire world, everything.
Spoiler alert for the next movie. He's about to get try to get the whole real world rebooted also.
Yeah.
Because that was the next movie.
That is next movie. So either way, that scene just like to me was like, okay, I get where you're going, but you could have done it a different way. There again, it's my own personal perspective to that. And I was like, oh, okay, Drew came up with some good points. I totally get that. It just, to me, that one little scene, it was like, it's awesome. Oh my gosh, stuff's going to hit the fan in a second. But it was like, you're doing it that way. Weird, but okay. So that's my second dislike. Our first.
What are you going to have? The Dark Ocean just like sprout out of cover the desert floor? That would have been cool to see.
Yeah, it did happen.
It kind of did happen.
Yeah, it kind of did happen.
But we had to get the dark data first because it's like, she fell into depression far faster than. That's the thing. It wasn't just depression. It was rage.
Oh yeah, it was rage.
She was filled with rage, and that's what caused her to forcibly digivolve Gatomon into fall down mode.
Yeah, that was cool. Do not get me wrong. That was amazing what they did with that. And it was like, oh crap, things are gonna get bad in a second. They did.
Yeah.
And they only get worse from here. Let's say that. So yeah, that was my little. This is my number.
That was your rant.
This is my rant.
That was your first dislike. We're still on first dislikes.
What's your second dislike?
My second dislike. So first off, I want to point out that I know that homeostasis' goal is not necessarily that the Digidestined win. I understand that part.
Yeah.
Her goal, or his goal, its goal, whatever it is to bring balance between the digital world and the real world. I recognize that that's homeostasis' entire goal. However, homeostasis could have saved a lot of time if it just explained stuff better when it was talking to the Digidestined.
Agreed.
Because all it did was it says, if you don't stop everything right now, we're gonna reboot the digital world. How do we stop it now? I'm not going to tell you. If you go into the digital world now, crap is going to happen. What's going to happen? I can't tell you. You can't tell us that Ty's gonna is gonna be thought killed, and it's gonna cause Kari to go cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. You could just say, "Hey, Kari, don't go. Everyone else, y'all go take care of stuff. But Kari, you stay here.
Yeah.
Because if you stay here, I suspect this is theory that in the real world she doesn't have access to that dark data that she's got in the digital world. I don't know this for certain.
Right.
I'm guessing. I'm theorizing.
Well,
it's just a theory, an anime theory. Anyway, sorry. That's not the word. It's just a theory, a digital theory.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway,
all right. My second dislike. The animation for the fight scenes are incredible.
Yes, that is where their money is going.
Oh yeah, top dollar. Everything's banking. Let's put all those.
The problem is it's only 1/3 of the movie.
Agreed. And so then you're dealing with.
You're dealing with Osaka, Georgia girl over there, worried about what's happening to Mei Kumon, how she feels useless and worthless. Good night. If there was someone who needed to make a quick trip to the shores of the Dark Ocean, it would have been her in that moment.
Yeah.
But at the same time...
Right. Oh my gosh. But you have all...
The animation in that was pretty bad.
Yeah. There's a lot of animation in this movie that kind of... it drops... Like it's an episode or movie too. The animation drops and it kind of keeps dropping a little bit. It's still good. It's just the animation just kind of starts going downhill slowly. It's not to where it's not still shots from the last episode of Evangelion, even though that's more artistic than anything.
I still have issues with it.
Right.
I'm sorry. Everything should at least be somewhat animated.
Right.
But that's been my biggest problem with Evangelion the whole time, is there's so many shots where it's just here's a long shot of people riding down an escalator.
Yeah.
And lots of talking. Okay.
But yeah, just the animation drops throughout the entire movie series. When it's granted, all your action scenes are incredible.
And admittedly, 6 looks a lot better than this does because
Agreed, it does.
there's more fight scenes in it.
Agreed.
So there's a lot more money spent on it. And plus it was the finale, so admittedly a little bit of money that should have probably gone to 4 and 5 was held off for 6.
Yeah, drop a little more yen in the very end. You're good.
Yeah.
Everywhere else is like, okay, the animation dropped again. Okay, it's still good storytelling. It's a little confusing some places, but it's still good. Just your animation kind of goes. Meow.
Oh, this scene is not selling an overpriced toy to sell to the otaku. Let's not put as much money into it. Oh, this thing has turned into Neon Genesis Digi-Vangelion that we're probably not going to sell a toy for it either because it's probably way too expensive to make that statue. And who would buy it? Actually, people would buy it.
Oh, they buy it in a heartbeat.
Yeah. It's like, we'll throw all the money here.
Yeah.
Especially since it's a new Digimon, technically.
Mm-hmm.
Also, was it this movie or the next one where Diaboromon shows back up? It wasn't Diaboromon. It was the vampire one.
Oh, you're talking about season 2?
I thought it was the one that Gatomon worked for a
while. Myotismon.
Myotismon, yeah. He showed up in one of these. I don't remember, for like 5 seconds. If that.
Yeah, he shows up. Either way.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
He does show up briefly in this. And yeah, so either way, it'd be like not going into our sixth and final episode of our review of these films.
Then we get to move on to something else.
Yeah, finally.
Do not get me wrong. I have enjoyed this, but I am ready for something else.
Yeah, 6 films.
It's not been a slog, but it has been a journey.
I'm
ready for another journey.
Yeah, it's been a digital journey.
A digi journey.
A digi journey.
Anyways,
so yeah, that is my second dislike.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
My third dislike. Things in this franchise, I say franchise, things in Tri are just slowly starting to no longer make sense as to what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
Because as much as I like that, and I understand it's the depression that makes Digi-Vangelion happen. There's a part of me that was going, wait, what? What's happening? This is possible? What's going on? And there's a whole lot of parts that were in the school where it's like, okay, I know this is a Japanese school, so they're Japanese school isms. Now, hang on. Reunion took place in the summer, right? That's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
And they're in the summer again. Now, I am basing this off of my experiences in the Persona series, which takes place in a Japanese high school and follows a Japanese calendar.
Yeah.
So you actually have days off when the Japanese school children would have days off.
Right.
So I know that summer is like August.
Mm-hmm.
But the school festival, which happened in episode 2, would have been in like
the fall?
The fall, if I remember correctly. We never saw a winter in this.
Yeah.
But now we're back to summer again because school's out for summer.
That is true.
And yet this feels like the whole thing is taking place in about a month's time overall.
Roughly. Yeah, that's what it feels like.
I'm utterly confused as to when this is supposed to take place. So, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Hey, if it was a sports festival, I'd have let it go. But it was not. It was the culture festival. So it had to take place in the fall. But anyway.
All right. So that's your third dislike, right?
That's my third dislike. It's like things. There's a lot of things about this when you really stop and think about it. Some things that just and some things when you're not really stopping and thinking about it, you're just watching, going, "Huh?" They just don't make any sense because we're gotta cram a ton of explanation into 2 hours so we can have the awesome fight scenes in the next movie.
Agreed. Yeah. Mine kind of goes in that same vein of you get a lot of exposition dump I'm probably saying that wrong.
No, exposition dump is the right word.
Yeah,
I would also
exposition
say you get a lot of technobabble in this.
Yeah, a lot of technobabble, a lot
And
of
not just from Izzy.
Yeah, exactly. You get, Hackmon says a ton of stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, homocysteine this, homocysteine this.
And you have to stop and think, okay, what is he actually saying? Am I following this?
Yeah, exactly.
And that's part of why it doesn't make sense.
Yeah, there's so much information coming at you at once. Like, definitely when Hackmon is explaining something to a human character, like this character pops up over and over again in this episode, and he's explaining all this stuff,
and he just shows up, and no one gives him a badass says, "Oh, Hackmon, you're back." It's like, okay,
it's like, oh crap, there's a Digimon.
Yeah,
which in this world, Digimon are normal.
And that's the thing. The rest of the world goes bonkers when a Digimon shows up. Hackmon shows up to talk to Michizuki, or however you say that guy's name.
Yeah.
At what looks like the UN.
Uh-huh.
In a hallway, and he just talks and goes, "Oh, you're here." And I'm thinking, shouldn't somebody walking past go, "Holy crap, it's a Digimon, run!" That's what they were doing when in the other thing. So he's like, yeah.
Well,
I'm just saying, not everyone at that government facility is going to be in on what a Digimon actually are.
Oh, I agree. My thought is that people in Japan are so used to
kaiju attacks.
Yeah, kaiju attacks. They're so used to kaiju attacks. Like, oh, there's a mini kaiju right there. Oh, hi. Are you eating me? No. Okay, fine.
Unless they're hanging around with kids, then they're obviously weapons of mass destruction and must be taken out. I blame Gamera for this because he's the friend to all children.
Oh my gosh. Okay. But either way, so
we just went off on a tangent I wasn't expecting to go off of for another 2 weeks. With Nate Marchand's on,
right,
in the Monster Island Film Vault.
Yeah, so we'll be there. All right, so it's like, yeah, there's a lot of information dump, and you gotta you gotta pay attention. Either A, stop it, rewind it, and like, okay, what did he say? How does the context work here?
What does this word in Digi-Jargon mean? What does that word mean in Digi-Jargon? Am I following? Am I tracking what they're saying?
Let me pull up my Digisaurus.
I mean, admittedly, it is easier to follow than Star Trek sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll grant you that, but at the same time, I'm still going. So we've got a dark ocean and we've got a quantum sea, and apparently they're the same thing because they use both terms here.
They do.
And they do not do anything to let you know this is the same thing.
Right.
It's like, explain stuff. Use if you're going to have technobabble, have consistent, clear, and easy to interpret technobabble. We have to follow what's going on.
Right.
Sorry, continue.
No, you're good. So yeah, like I said, there's a lot of information to be followed, and if you're not fluent with it, because there again, be like, you go through 1, 2, 3, 4, and you're okay, I'm tracking, and then you get all this information dumped at you at once. I'm like, whoa, information overload.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I need to stop.
The fire hose is on and you're drinking from it.
Yes, exactly. It's like the the dog going at the water hose.
Yes.
Just, and it's like, okay, I can't consume all this information, all this data at once. Slow it down. I think Drew was right with the idea that this could have possibly been a 9-movie series.
Mm-hmm.
That would have made.
I think it must have been planned that way originally, and they couldn't get Toei wouldn't give them approval for 9, so it got shrunk to 6.
That's possible.
But they had already written the scripts for 1 through 3 when they got knocked down, and they couldn't change it.
Right.
It would have been hard to change it.
Anyways, so yeah, it's just the information dump you get. Definitely, if you don't have your Digisaurus out, you're not new to it. You're not new to Digimon. If you're like, huh? What in the world? What is this going on? Huh? Wait a minute. Pause. Let me think about that. Let me pull up my Digisaurus. Okay. That's what that means? Okay. Gotcha.
I mean, the thing is, if you're not tracking with the movie up to this point,
yeah,
when you get to Digi-Vangelion, your mind's just going to go, I have no idea why this is happening.
Exactly.
Because it doesn't make any sense. And yeah, I kind of vaguely understand why Digi-Vangelion is happening. It's because the Digi world and the real world are starting to merge. And Kari went cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs because she thinks her brother is dead. And because she was in the digital world when that happened, when the depression hit her, it caused this black code to come out and force Gatomon to digivolve into a Fanimon fall down mode, and then somehow merge. That's the thing. I still don't understand how the merge happened, because Mako did not command in any way, shape, or form. Ragumon, to merge with a Fanimon fall down mode. And she just does it. It's like, is there dark digital magnetism going on? What's going on? It doesn't really matter because it just happens.
It does. It's cool.
It's cool to watch. And at some point, you just gotta go pick up another piece of popcorn and throw it in the mouth and not think about it. At some point, good night. This thing all of Digimon Adventure Tri, in my opinion, needs a novelization to explain some of this stuff.
Okay, so yeah, my third.
At least it's not a somehow Palpatine returned situation. Because there is at least some logic to this.
Right. Yeah, that movie, there is no lot. It's like, okay.
But this is not the Star Wars show.
No, it's not.
Did you actually say your third dislike?
Yes, I did.
I couldn't remember if you actually...
I did.
If you were coming off of my points, or if you had actually stated yours.
I did state mine. Oh my gosh!
I think that brings us to the end of the episode.
I think we did. Okay, so what's your score?
I'm giving this a 7.
All right,
it's got enough epicness to the jargonness. That's not a word, but the problems with this, admittedly, are at least saved somewhat by the last 5 minutes of the movie, which are obviously stolen from the first 5 minutes of the next movie to some degree,
right?
But I mean, there's all the problems I have with this. Like, it just goes away in that last 5 minutes, and I go, "Oh crap!" Also, I'm going to laugh at, "Oh honey, you're such a peach, hun." It's like, I don't think Japan talks that way, and I don't think it translates that way either. That's not a transliteration. That is word replacements.
Yes,
that is okay. This is what they're going for. We're going this way. Because it's going to sound really... That was the thing in that scene. I didn't say this before. But you can start to hear a southern accent start to come through as she's getting sad. Mm-hmm. I'm thinking, did the actress break her voice accidentally and went back to her native tongue? Her native accent? And then she says that line, I'm going, no, they're doing this on purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Japan is not Georgia. But apparently there's an Osaka, Georgia. Anyway.
Apparently.
I'm giving it a 7 just because it's got some issues. I do feel it's the weakest so far of the 6. Simply because it's got to... It's a utility movie for the most part. It's getting you from 4 to 6. Mm-hmm. And also it's got to explain everything so you understand why 6... What's going on in 6. Because 6... will not have time to explain what's going on.
Exactly.
So, and you've got to end on the good note. So,
yeah. Are the dun dun dun? What's gonna happen next? Scene.
Well, I mean, Tri has to end on a good.
Oh yeah,
a good roller coaster ride.
Yeah, agreed.
5 is the climb up the hill.
Yeah, you're getting there.
I don't know how 1 through 4 fit into that. If it's somehow the line or other smaller rides. Anyway.
Yeah, I will give it a 7.9, 7.5.
We don't do a 0.9.
No, we don't. We get 7.5. Be like, yeah, it does. There's a lot of information dump. I do love a lot of aspects of this film. Do not get me wrong. I still enjoy this film tremendously. Like Drew said, it dumps a lot of information on you, and you have to understand this in order to go forward with the 6th and final film. And there again, if they would have maybe stretched this out to another film, made it maybe 7 films, maybe 8 films.
Yes, I don't think you need 9 per se to get to fix some of this.
You can literally fix it in one film.
You could probably fix most of the pacing issues in this in one film. I'm thinking you might need 2 to to smooth out both 4 and 5.
Yeah.
To get it to where it's paced a little bit better. Plus, I kind of still wanted more in the regular digital world before we have to do before they go back.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah. And also there's...
I would like to see them fighting the digital world at the beginning of this film a little bit more as it's trying to expel them.
Yeah.
Which I still think is a stupid explanation as to why crap keeps happening to them.
Yeah. And plus in the original show, it seemed like the digital world was fighting them as well. So,
but anyways.
So yeah, the hopping between the real world and digital world, and there's some great moments in here that makes it a really good film. There's just a lot of information dump that you need to understand, and they could have simply, it's like, okay, we're going to do another film, but apparently either A, they weren't going to do that originally, or B, they lost the funding to do that, so they had to cram everything into one film. We don't know because I don't have that information. So to summarize, yeah, it's a 7.5. It's still a great, awesome movie. We just get a lot of information dump that could have been spread out a little further to help with the learning, the information reveal, instead of everything just dumped on you like a bad salad.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, 7.5.
Well, that brings us to the end of yet another episode of the Cellcast. Next week, we are, of course, going to be reviewing the sixth and final movie of Digimon Adventure Tri, which is Future.
Yes.
Our trivia question for next week, which I will post probably here in the next 5 seconds, if we're being honest. This is not a what's the right answer type of trivia question. This is more of a give me an answer and I will pick the one I like the best.
Okay.
Kind of a thing. Or we will, actually.
Okay.
Who is your favorite Digimon and why?
Oh, Jiminy's.
That's almost mean of me to do with only 4 days till our next recording session.
Yeah, wow.
But that's going to be what I'm going with.
So it's basically like if we like your answer, we'll pick it.
Pretty much. Actually, we'll probably just read all of them because I like content. But anyway.
Exactly. So yeah.
So I think that's it for now.
Okay.
Because we have one more movie left in season 3. If you can believe that. It was hard to believe, actually, for me. Because this has been a weird year.
Okay.
I mean, 2020 and 2021 have been odd.
Yeah, they have.
To say the least. So it feels weird that we're on year 3.
Yeah.
You're finishing year 3 and about to start year 4.
Agreed.
That's mostly what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Especially since D-Lit is now with us.
Yes.
At least for the foreseeable future.
Yes.
Well, we'll discuss that next episode.
Okay.
Because we'll need to make a decision whether we're going to keep her around or not.
Exactly.
So yeah, join us next time for Digimon Adventure Tri Part 6 Future as we end Season 3.
Yeah, as we end Season 3.
In the meantime, this has been Drew.
This is Jacob.
And we will catch you in the next frame. Come, Jacob. We must prepare for next week.
Prepare for what, Drew?
The same thing we do every week, Jacob. Record a podcast!
Oh, boy!
So where can they find you, Jacob?
You can find me on Facebook at Jacob B. Heron, also on Facebook at Jacob's Daily Art Corner, where I try to draw each and every day. I don't get to it as often as I like, but join me there. Also, you can find me on Instagram at Jacob B. Heron, on Twitter at Jacob Heron, and Letterboxd at Jacob Heron. So where can they find you, Drew?
You can also follow me on Letterboxd at GGeorge759, Facebook as Drew Dodgen, my Facebook page where you can see pictures I've taken at Drew's Photo Bin. You can also follow me on Twitter at GGeorge759.
You can email us at thecellcastpodcast@gmail.com.
You can also follow us on Twitter at cast_cell.
You can follow us on Twitch at twitch.tv/thecellcastgaming.
You can also follow us on YouTube at Cellcast.
Listen to our podcast on Apple Podcasts,
Google Play Podcasts,
Stitcher,
Spotify,
and your favorite podcast directory.
You can also listen to us on the Movie of the Week podcast with Jim Heron, where we talk about live-action movies. And remember, Cell is a single L.